Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of Big Willy's Fab Shop. I'm Big Willy. Today's episode, I kind of will get into my build of my 1958 F250. I'll kind of show some pictures right now on the screen of it. So I bought it, was it 2 years ago now? I bought it from some guy, he pulled it out of some farmer's tree row out in North Dakota. So it is pretty dang clean. There's some few rust spots, but you know, for the Midwest, it's pretty good. So I bought that pickup, I think $900. Put a set of wheels on. I had laying around. I didn't come with any wheels. Pulled it up on a trailer, took it back to my place, started cleaning it out. The truck bed was filled with nails, bolts, and stuff. So whatever farmer owned this used it as the scrap vehicle. Throw old scrap metal in the back of it. I might have scattered some nails on the road, but hey, I didn't pop a tire, so that's all that matters. So I bought that. Engine was stuck. We got it free. We got it running actually, but decided to pull the engine out because I kind of wanted something a little more performance-wise. I shouldn't say performance, but a little more newer. I don't know. I wanted something different. So we got it running, took video of it. I'll put it up on the screen right now of us getting it running.
That doesn't sound half too bad. No oil lights.
I think it was sitting for 30 years or something. Yeah, the plates were dated 1980. So yeah, 40 years it was sitting. So we got it running pretty decent actually, surprisingly. But we ended up pulling it out, me and buddy. Sold that engine, and then fast forward a couple years, here we are, getting back onto that project, and of engineering it, re-drive-lining it, I don't know, whatever the hell you want to call it. So my initial plans, I changed my mind multiple times here, so kind of lay out the groundwork here. So my initial plan was to put a Crown Vic front end suspension on it, since they're pretty easy and you get all the benefits of independent front suspension. You got power steering that comes with it. What else? Is that it? I don't know. I think that's the biggest two pros of going that swap, and it's pretty much you drill 4 holes and then a couple more on the back side of it. So anyways, you drill some holes, etc. It's pretty easy swap. And then I was going to put a Ford Explorer rear end on it, a 1995, a newer rear end, since those come with disc brakes. And then do a four-link suspension on that, on the rear. Mainly because it sounded cool. I don't know. You know. And then engine-wise, I had a couple cores laying around. I actually right next to me here, of 6.9 IDIs, and I was going to put a 6.9 IDI diesel in it. And then the biggest thing, I was going to turbo it. I was going to intercooler it, put an intercooler on it, do all custom fab stuff for that, to get a little more power out of these engines. They're a dog, NA, but they're pretty reliable. Speaking of fact, old zip tie, high splice, yeah, he abused them. Still going. But so that was my plan, and then I started tearing apart this engine here. I got it complete, pretty much the state that this one is in. So I tore it apart. I'll show a time lapse of it at the end here. Tore it apart and found out the reason why I was pulled out of the truck. Both of these engines I had no history of. I bought it on an old marketplace. So I tore this one apart, found that the main center bearing had spun. The crank actually didn't look too bad, or the cap. But since it's been sitting for a while, and it was locked up when I got it, it got pretty rusty in a couple of cylinders. It may or may not be able to be honed out, or definitely not honed out, bored out. I think if we get it all cleaned up, it would be over a oversized 7.3, and it would be pretty thin. So I'd rather not go that route. However, I have a hone. I'm going to try to hone it to get a little better picture of how bad a couple of the pitting areas are. And I'll bring you guys in later on and kind of go over this one. So after seeing that one, I brought this one up to the garage to tear apart, to see if this one is salvageable. So the plan was just initially, the plan for one of these IDIs was going to tear apart, bring it to machine shop, dump a shit ton of money into it, make something cool. But the more I thought about it, it's like, it's for how much money you're going to dump into a 6.9, it's not really worth going to the machine shop, in my opinion. So I was going to look at this one to see if I can just dingle ball hone it, slap some new rings, bearings in it, and then throw a turbo on it, and then also an intercooler, and see what happens. Kind of just want to try something else out. It may not be the right way, but I want to try it. So I brought this one in and found out this is a 83 engine. This is 85 engine. So this 83 engine, they were prone to have weak blocks. This is the first kind of year of the 6.9 IDIs. So they were kind of weak in a couple areas. The biggest area is around the thermostat housing, or excuse me, not thermostat, block heater port. And they were prone to crack. And after investigation, that's what happened to this one. The block is cracked. So essentially and after finding it's 83, I was gonna throw away the block anyways, because I didn't want to do all that hassle and then a year later or 2 months later after getting it running, it cracks on me. So that's these engines right now. Going back to my original plan was I was going to put one of these engines into it, turbo it, etc. Put a 5-speed transmission on the back of it, manual transmission, and then put it into the truck. I bought a 3D scanner, so I was going to 3D scan one of these, and then 3D scan the engine bay, and then put it in my CAD program, and then create custom mounts and all that, bracketry, etc. So the goal was to make it look pretty clean, like it almost looked factory. Do the wiring harness all nice and pretty, and spend some time onto that. So when you open the hood, it's like, well, it's not a cobbled together mess. So that was the plan. I was going to 3D scan it, and then whatever I was going to make, I was going to upload it to my website and offer it for sale for anyone else that may or be interested in doing one of these weird swaps where you put an IDI engine into a 58 era pickup. There might be a couple of you guys, crazy guys like me, something different. And no, I'm not going to LS swap this thing. That's sticking with Ford. And no, I'm not putting a Godzilla engine in it or a 5.0. Kind of want this budget friendly now. So mostly because that's actually realistic. I don't think I would ever actually dump a crap ton of money in this when I'm driving around old junkers, my daily junkers. So it's not worth it, especially if it's going to be only ran during the during summer. Winter I might park it because, it's the winter, it's Midwest. But now after seeing the conditions of these two engines, kind of sat back and was thinking about a different way. So my current plan, it may or may not change after actually building it here in a couple episodes, but current plan is to put the body of that 58 onto a Ford Expedition frame drivetrain, particularly a 03 and newer. That's when they switched the rear end to a independent rear end. Prior it was a solid axle. So 03 and newer, and then ideally if I'm going to use the drivetrain, a 2007 and newer, because of the transmission. In 07 they updated it to a 6-speed transmission. So sadly, all those years they still have the 5.4. It may not be a sad thing actually. Looking ahead here, plan is, like I said, put the body, 58 body onto a Ford Expedition frame. Then I can get independent front and rear suspension, 4-wheel drive, because prior I was just going to do a 2-wheel drive, which I don't know how I feel about that quite yet, because I probably will never use 4-wheel drive. Oh, no, I will, especially at Drake Strip. So, for all that power, I need all the wheels to put it on the ground. I'll get to that here shortly. 4-wheel drive, suspension, AC, what else? Turnkey, after you get all the electronics, that's going to be a nightmare. Where these is just one wire and you're good to go. Actually 2 wires. One for the injection on-off solenoid on the injection pump, and then the other wire for your starter. Actually 3, because you need glow plugs. Well, unless you use old Bill Cosby in the can, then you don't need glow plugs, or shouldn't use glow plugs. Otherwise you're gonna blow a head gasket. Anyways, before I got sidetracked, where was I? Expedition. So I was gonna, so the current plan is to swap that. And so I bought a Expedition. I made the mistake of, actually I found out what the EL stood for on the trim. Stands for extra long. So the reason why I was targeting a Expedition, standard Expedition, is the wheelbase. Wheelbase was pretty much, it was a 1/4 inch longer than the 58. So I wouldn't have to stretch or shrink the frame. I could just essentially body swap it, cut some material here and there, and then it should be simple, So I bought this Expedition. And then I mentioned I found out the EL stood for. That meant extra long. So they stretched the frame on those Expeditions, was it 20 inches? I don't know, something. They stretched it. So the wheelbase doesn't match up anymore. So I have a Expedition now. Undecided if I'm gonna use that Expedition or find another Expedition. That Expedition I bought. I bought it for $500, and it has a knocking engine. Kind of sounds like a rod knock, and no, it's not. It's not the lifters or cam phasers, since it's a 5.4. It's a knock. It's coming. I'm pretty sure it's a rod knock. It's not really noticeable until you accelerate. So the plan was to use that Expedition, but I found it was long. So here I am, unsure what I'm gonna do with that. Either I want to cut the frame and shrink it back together. You can definitely see the add-on part they put into the frame to make the EL. So I might cut that out, shorten it. With that, I'll have to get a different rear drive shaft, fuel tank, maybe a couple other things. That's all I see right now, and do it that way. Or I try to flip this Expedition and then buy another Expedition, a correct wheelbase. Make sure it's not EL. But with that, that's my current plan, is to put it on the Expedition, and then whatever Expedition year I can get. Ideally, if I could get a 2015 or newer, I would get one for the right price, because those came with the 3.5 EcoBoost. Prior, it's all pretty much 5.4 stuff. So if I end up with a 5.4 one, I'm going to tear it down and video all that, do bearings, or inspect it. If I can just get away with it, put bearings, new piston rings, a couple other components there, and then slap a supercharger on it. So I'm not going stock. Whatever engine I might put into this 58, it's not going to be stock. It's either going to be a supercharger, turbo, or a what's the other one? Super, turbo. I don't know. I think there's one more. Anyways, I want to put some PSI behind it. So if I go on that 5.4 route, I might probably get a E10 or a Whipple supercharger, put it on there, and then deal with the headache of wiring. But that's a whole separate issue. So with that, that's the current plan. And I probably forgot a couple things, but I'll update you guys later. But now I'll show you the kind of time lapse of taking this part or whatever I have. My phone kind of shit out halfway through. So whatever I have, I'll play it now. And then after that, I'll bring you guys over here to look at these cylinders to see if I can hone it out and get a better idea of this. And then the next episode, I will probably 3D scan this engine, and I won't go too much in detail of it because I'm still learning on that. And then after that, I probably will do a teardown of this engine for anyone that wants to know what the inside of a 6.9 IDI looks like. And then yeah, probably some other funner stuff besides me talking. So with that, let's jump into it. Alright, I found the reason why this 85 was parked. We have a spun main bearing. So that is, besides the sticky oil, that's probably the reason why it was parked. If you come over here, we do have some grooving on the main cap. This is what it's supposed to look like. The bearing's supposed to come with it. And then also I've been looking at these bearings, and it does appear to be a higher mileage engine. That one's probably another spun. Oh no, I think it's still on the crankshaft. I haven't took it off yet, but there is some wear on this engine, that's for sure. So it's been used, and that's why it was parked. My reason. Alright, update on the 85 block. Got all the pistons out. Looking at it, there is some pretty good pitting on the cylinder walls. I think this is one of the worst ones. Hard to see. But with that, there's a couple cylinders that are pretty bad. I think what I just showed, and then this one here. And I don't think if we bore it out to a 7.3, I think there'll still be some pitting there. So I'm pretty sure this block is pretty much an anchor right now. But I'll do a hone job on it and then see how bad the pitting is really. Then moving over to the bearings here. Previous owner did get their life out of these, that's for sure. This one's pretty bad. Here's the bearing that's spun. It's one of the main ones, main bearings. It actually doesn't look like it was ran long with it spinning. There's not too much wear on the cap and the block, but so here's the one that spun, and then here's one that's right next to it. So it's pretty similar. Camshaft here. Again, some more wear on the fuel pump lobe. And there is quite a bit of pitting on this cam. My plan was to get rid of the cam anyways, but if it was good, I was going to try to sell it as a used part, but there is some pretty good pitting on it. So take the gear off, and I'm pretty sure that this cam is scrap metal. So yeah, that's the update today. All right, let's check this guy out here. Not too bad. That's up here now. Hard to see on the camera, but yeah, that's not the best. This is probably the worst one here. Yep. Where's some of that good bit? Oh, right there. Some good stuff. Yeah, I don't think this one will have to be sleeved for sure. So with that, I don't think we'll use this block, but